A sleepy mystery bedtime story. Extended version. Close your eyes now. Feel the gentle rocking. Left, right, left, right. Let the steam and snow carry you away. The Orient Express moved through the night, the way a lullaby moves through a darkened nursery. Slow, inevitable, and impossibly tender. Outside, the snow fell in thick, silent feathers, each one catching the moonlight for a single heartbeat before surrendering to darkness. Inside the Calais-Istanbul coach, only one small lamp still glowed, a lonely amber island in a sea of velvet shadow. Beneath its light lay a man who believed he had 7 minutes left to live. And he was smiling. In the corridor, padded slippers made no sound at all. Hercule Poirot, small and perfectly neat even at 2 in the morning, pressed one ear to the cold brass numbers on compartment 7. From within came a whisper softer than breathing. "Forgive me. The sapphire must sleep forever." Poirot's magnificent moustaches twitched once. Somewhere, very far away, a clock prepared to strike an hour that belonged only to dreams. Chapter 1. The sleeping car awakens only slightly. The great train breathed in long, slow sighs of steam. Hercule Poirot lay in his lower berth, hands folded over the silk counterpane the color of midnight violets, eyes half closed. Little grey cells arranged in perfect order like porcelain figurines on a shelf. He never truly slept on trains. He merely allowed the rhythm of the wheels to massage his thoughts into the gentlest circles. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack. A lullaby in steel and oak. At 12 minutes past 2, the whisper returned, threading through the thin partition wall like cigarette smoke. A woman's voice, fragile as frost. The necklace. It remembers too much. Let it sleep. Let it sleep. Poirot rose without a creak. He slipped his feet into fur-lined slippers, tied the cord of his dressing gown, and stepped into the corridor. The air smelled faintly of coal, lilies, and something metallic, like a storm that had decided not to happen. Every door was closed, every curtain drawn, except compartment 7. Its door stood open the width of a single trembling finger, as though the train itself were afraid to look inside. Chapter 2. The Man Who Died Gratefully. Mr. Reginald Carver, American railroad millionaire, lay on his back in a pool of soft lamplight. His silk pajamas were buttoned to the throat. His silver hair was combed as neatly as if for a photograph. One hand still curled around an empty crystal glass. The other rested on his chest, directly over his heart, in the attitude of a child saying bedtime prayers. Most curious of all was the smile, small, peaceful, almost childish. Poirot had seen many dead men. None had ever looked so relieved. On the rosewood table lay an open jewel case lined with threadbare indigo velvet. The hollow in the center was shaped like a teardrop sapphire the size of a quail's egg. Whatever had once rested, there now rested nowhere at all. Poirot leaned closer. No scent of bitter almonds, no tremor in the pulse that had only just stopped. Only the faint sweetness of Swiss chocolate on the dead man's breath. Mon Dieu, Poirot whispered to the silence. You arranged your own vanishing. How very Belgian of you. Chapter 3. 5 passengers and 1 empty space. Dawn arrived shyly, brushing the mountain peaks with rose and lavender. In the dining car, 5 people sat around a table laid with white linen and untouched coffee. The air smelled of beeswax, toast, and unspoken accusations. Mrs. Amelia Carver, the widow, wore mourning so new it still creaked. Her eyes were red but dry, as though grief had already spent itself in private. Miss Daphne Gray, 28, ash blonde, secretary of 10 years, kept twisting the same handkerchief until the lace tore. Colonel Arbuthnot, moustache like a yard brush, stared out at the snow as though it had personally offended him. Madame Lucia Zorina, once the toast of La Scala, wrapped her famous throat in sable and drank hot water with lemon as though it were applause. Young Mr. Felix Carver, heir presumptive, drummed manicured fingers and looked at his aunt with the polite hunger of a cat watching a canary forget how to fly. Poirot entered last, bowed to each in turn, and accepted the smallest possible cup of thick chocolate. He waited until the silence grew heavy as damask, then spoke in the tone one uses in a sick room. Mesdames et messieurs, sometime after 2 o'clock this morning, Mr. Carver was relieved of a sapphire worth a king's ransom, and of his life. Yet no blood, no struggle, no poison that science can detect, only a smile. I ask you now, who among us heard the whisper? Chapter 4. The brooch of paste and the alibi of glass. At Trieste, Inspector Japp boarded puffing like a kettle, waving a search warrant and triumph. In Madame Zorina's crocodile dressing case lay a sapphire brooch wrapped in tissue. The diva laughed until tears stood in her kohl-rimmed eyes. Touch it, Inspector. Cold glass. A gift from a stage-door Johnny in Vienna who could not afford the real thing. Japp touched. It was cold glass. His face turned the exact shade of an embarrassed plum. Poirot merely twirled one point of his moustache and ordered another chocolate. Paste, he murmured, is often more instructive than perfection, my friend. It tells us someone wished to be suspected, and then to be acquitted. Chapter 5. The Second Night and the Dream That Returned. The train climbed higher into the Alps, wheels singing a slower, more mournful lullaby. Snow pressed against the windows like lace curtains in an old nursery. Poirot sat alone in the lounge car beneath one dimmed lamp, a cashmere rug over his knees. The whisper came again, not through walls this time, but inside his own memory. A woman's voice from 20 years ago, singing a Neapolitan lullaby while lavender swayed beneath a Tuscan moon. He saw Amelia, young and barefoot, wearing the sapphire against her throat while a poor music teacher played mandolin. He saw her father tear the lovers apart and sell the girl to an American millionaire who promised to buy her the moon. Poirot opened his eyes. The sapphire had never been about money. It had been about a dream that refused to die. Chapter 6. The little grey cells dance, very slowly. At 10 o'clock the following evening, Poirot gathered them all in the dining car once more. Outside, the moon hung full and low, pouring silver over the snowfields. He spoke so softly that everyone leaned forward as though pulled by invisible threads. The sapphire of sleep was cut in Constantinople in 1777. Legend said whoever wore it at night would dream, without fail, of the person they loved most in the world. Mr. Carver purchased it 30 years ago to give his young wife back the dream of her lost love. Every night for 30 years she dreamed of the music teacher, never of her husband. At last he understood. The only way to stop the dream was to let the sapphire sleep inside himself. He turned to Mrs. Carver with infinite gentleness. "Your husband dissolved the jewel in warm chocolate, madame. He drank it like communion. He lay down smiling because for the first time in 30 years you would both dream of nothing at all." Chapter 7. The post-mortem that was not needed. The surgeon at Innsbruck confirmed it. The sapphire, rendered microscopic by a jeweller in Zurich, had passed through the stomach lining and lodged harmlessly against the heart. Death came from a common sleeping draught, taken in heroic quantity, Mr. Carver's own prescription. No murder. Only the quietest, most courteous suicide ever recorded. The whisper everyone heard? The last vibration of a stone that had finally been allowed to forget. Chapter 8. The widow keeps her dreamless sleep. Poirot met Mrs. Carver on the rear platform as the train paused beneath a sky full of stars. He placed the recovered sapphire, now dull as a river pebble, into her gloved hand. "Keep it, madame. It will never shine again. Some jewels, like some hearts, choose silence over brilliance." She closed her fingers around it and wept at last. Soft, healing tears that steamed in the cold alpine air. Chapter 9. Poirot returns to his little berth. The Orient Express rocked on through the night, tender and tireless. Poirot lay down once more, hands folded, moustaches immaculate. He listened to the wheels. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack. A lullaby older than crime. Another case resolved without disturbing a single dream, he murmured. His little grey cells grew quiet as falling snow. The train sighed like a mother easing her child into bed. And Hercule Poirot slept. Chapter 10. Good night, dear sleeper. The train is still moving, softly, softly, through valleys of moonlight and rivers made of stars. The sapphire sleeps forever. Poirot sleeps. The mountains sleep beneath their blankets of snow. And now, you may sleep too. Let the wheels sing beneath you. Shh, shh, shh. Let everything go. Good night. Good night.